How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Would you
Good.
mind telling me your name and what you're doing here?
So I'm Rebecca Bennett. I'm in Studio 111 at Canopy, and I do these large abstract landscapes.
Great. So tell me about which type of art do you specialize in? I noticed you have like a few different pieces.
I like to do large oil paintings that are color filled, that resemble the landscape but not exactly tell you it's a landscape.
Right. Is there any type of landscape that inspire you to paint these paintings?
Well, I love water. I grew up on the East Coast, so near the ocean, so I love that. I also live in Austin now, so I am trying to incorporate more. I think that looks Western, so I'm trying to incorporate more
that looks like it has
Western
some Austin vibes.
Vibes, yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing it as a professional artist for 20 years.
Great.
But I started as a kid, We all
Right.
start as kids, I think, and then some of us just keep going and some of us stop.
And are these acrylic on canvas or oil?
They're oil on canvas.
Great. And how long does it take you to do one of these pieces?
So that's a tricky question because with oil paint, or at least the way I use it, it's a little bit layered, so I do a layer that has to dry.
Right. How long does it take? How long does it take to dry?
Well, it takes maybe 2 or 3 days before I feel comfortable putting on the next layer. So, so what I have in my studio is like a pizza rack or rack, and I put a painting in and let that dry and take another painting out, so that I can work on multiple pieces at one time or at the same time.
Yeah, let's talk about the textures in your painting. Are you using a paintbrush or using some kind of flat edge?
I'm using a paintbrush with a lot of medium in it.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. So tell me about these little cute pieces here that look like flowers.
Oh, thank you for asking. So using my painting images, I use Photoshop and create these circles in Photoshop.
Yeah.
Then I print them and cut them out and make the discs, and then combine them together so that they create a new piece of art. And I'm doing that with this work, and I'm doing that with these pieces over here.
Okay.
And I call that my meta collection because it's artwork from artwork, and it takes me away from painting a little bit and doing something that's maybe a little quicker, a little, so that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
What are your top 3 favorite pieces that you have
Oh
here?
my gosh. That people ask me that and I don't know I honestly I don't know what to say. This is what I can tell you.
Okay.
The 3 pieces these 2 weekends that got the most love were this piece, 4 pieces, that piece, and then the piece behind you that kind of looks like.
Oh wow. What do you think?
So those 4 pieces were the top, I would say were the top favorites of the 2 weekends.
Oh, and where have you sold your art to? Like, where do they live?
They live sometimes in houses, a lot of times in corporate collections.
Okay.
Yep. Hotels, hospitals, all those kind of high-end places that need big art, colorful art, yeah.
If there were 3 artists who inspire you, who you love or admire the most, who would they be?
Okay. So, as a kid, I loved Maxfield Parrish, and I don't know if you know him, but he was an illustrator, really, but it was the colors that he used. You got to look him up if you don't know who he is. It's the colors that he used that really inspired me. And then I'm from outside of Philadelphia, and Mary Cassatt was born in Pennsylvania, and she's an impressionist who did mother and child scenes, and then she went over to France and lived with the other impressionists. Anyway, she was one of my first inspirations, but that has nothing to do with this work. This work is kind of inspired by Rothko. That gives you very much a Rothko vibe, and I do love him. And I love the idea of the simplicity of the work and the color of the work. And then another thing that I like to do is, even though they're serene, they have bright colors. So you feel something from them.
You said you've been doing this for quite some time, like 20 years. How did you get started? How did you get into this?
Yeah, so painting, I mean, I've always done art my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I studied psychology and I studied social work and I did that kind of stuff. And then in 2002, when my kids were in middle school, I had more time. Oh, I stayed at home. My kids were in middle school and I had more time. My husband and my children gave me a studio space for Christmas,
Oh, very
which
nice.
was lovely.
Yeah.
And then I went into that studio space, spent a couple years in there just experimenting and playing. And then I started showing it. And just one thing led to another, led to another, led to another. Like started in cafes and restaurants and hair salons, and then started doing art shows and, you know,
Very cool.
just
And
kind of that. And then I started being part of collectives, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
well, where can people learn more about your art and or to order custom pieces and learn more about like what you're up to?
Well, my website, RebeccaBennettArtworks.com, and then my Instagram, which is Rebecca Bennett Artworks. Everything is branded Rebecca Bennett Artworks, so that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, I appreciate it.